All right, class, let's go through this assignment together. First of all, it's very important that you do the reading and science assignment first. So if you have not read the fossil story yet today, then you need to get out of this assignment and go back to read the fossil story under our reading and science assignment. If you did already finish the reading and science assignment, then you should be ready to begin. And like the instructions here say, you can continue to the next slide. Okay. This says, think about what might happen if you went on a hunt for fossils. Answer the questions below. There are 3 questions for you to answer. The first one says, who would you take with you? Now, I'm going to type in some answers to give you some ideas. I don't want you copying mine, though. I want you coming up with your own answers. You'll click in the gray box and think about who would you take with you? I would probably take Trooper Cody, my husband, as well as maybe my mom and my dad and my sisters. Next question says, what supplies would you take? Now, if you can't remember, there was a page in our story about fossils that you read earlier today that tells you everything that you should take on a fossil hunt. So I'm going to remember some of those things. These answers do not need to be complete sentences. This is just to get you thinking. I'm going to write sunscreen, as well as some brushes to brush off the dirt from rocks that I find. And maybe I will also bring a magnifying glass. Okay. Now, the next question says, what would you find? Now, this is where you get to be creative and think about what would you find if you were on a fossil hunt? I think I might find rocks with crystals inside, rock with fossil of a bug, and maybe a fossil of a dinosaur bone. That would be really cool. You'd probably have to dig really deep. All right, so once I have those ideas filled out, and remember yours should be different from mine, you can use some, especially here, what supplies would you take? You can use some of my answers here, but I do want to see that you did your own work as well. Now, this one says, outline your story. The introduction, let's talk about what that means. Your introduction always tells the reader what they are going to be reading about. Now, this is a story of your own. You might want to open up by saying, this is the story of how I found a fossil in the mountains. And I added an exclamation point because I'm really excited about it. Now you can do a different introduction. This is the story of how I found whatever you're going to find. Or maybe I want to tell you about when I found a fossil in the mountains, or when I want to tell you about when I went on a fossil hunt with my family, something like that. Okay, now you have 3 sentences that you need to write. The first one begins with the word first. So what happens first? First, I woke up early with my family and drove to a spot in the mountains where there was a lot of sedimentary rock. Now, keep remembering that you're doing your own sentences. This is my story. I'm just showing you an example, okay? Next, so I said, first, I woke up early with my family and drove to a spot in the mountains where there was a lot of sedimentary rock. Next, I got out my tools and started digging for fossils. Then I found a rock with pretty crystals inside. And maybe I'll add a detail. I'll say that the crystals were red, pretty red crystals inside. And a fossil of a fish that lived a long time ago. Okay, awesome. Now, my conclusion, this is when you tell your reader that you're done writing. And of course, you can write more sentences. If your story is longer, that is just fine. Your story can be as long as you want. And your conclusion, of course, on this slide, we'll only have these 4 sentences or these 5 sentences. But then on the next slide, we will get to write more if you want to. Okay, so our conclusion says, that is how I found my cool new fossil. Okay, that's my conclusion. I'm ending my story and telling the reader that that is the end. Okay, now I've got my outline here. Okay, this is my outline of my story. Now, on the very last slide, you're going to type the final copy of your story in this gray box. You can use these sentences. I can even highlight it, click on Control, click, and copy. And it's okay if you don't know how to do this. I'm just doing it quickly. And I can paste it right there. Okay, this is the story of how I found a fossil in the mountains. And then each of my sentences, I would copy them into the box here. I would retype them into the box here so that I have my whole story in one box. This is the part where you can add more details, you can add more sentences, you can make your story longer. It's up to you. Okay, and then once you're done with that, then you will turn the assignment in. And of course, let us know if you have any questions at all. You will also be graded on putting capitals at the beginning of sentences and periods or question marks or exclamation marks at the ends of your sentences. Okay, and then you're done.